Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a rainy Wednesday morning. It is 6 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 43 in American. It feels colder, but it isn't. This looks like it's going to be socked in all day. Why is it socked in? Where did we get these expressions from? Seriously. I guess somebody will look it up for me. Why would it be socked in? Sucked in, I can understand, but socked in, yeah, I may have to look that up. Which is how I learn things. And so I would really encourage you to be curious in your life. That's going to be my word for the day. Curious. And I was thinking, how do we relate this back to our theme of love? Well, don't you think that one of the joys about meeting somebody new is you are curious. You want to know about their life. You want to know what makes them tick. You want to know so many things. So, sorry about this, I still haven't fixed the windshield wipers. I have tried so many different things. So we look at it and go, if we can continue to be curious in our lives, we will learn so much. People have always been surprised. I don't want to sound egotistical here, so just let me... I need to continue the story. What I was going to say was being surprised at my breadth of knowledge. I've always been curious about things, right? Whether it's American football or hockey or the computer. I was very curious about the computer way before anybody else was. And I think that part of my mind that loves to learn is part of my greatest gift. You know, if I say what gifts do I really appreciate, I would say my curiosity would be among them. Because it has helped me learn so much. You know, I was talking yesterday about the Chinese zodiac animals, and I'm a pig or a boar. Well, you know, people going, yeah, Sal, you're a boar. A real boar. No, the other sort of boar, you know, the pig type one. So when you look up the traits of a boar, they are quite amazing. Now, somebody wrote to me yesterday, I can't remember who, and forgive me for this, but said that they're also a boar. They're not a fire, they're also a pig, boar, whatever. They're not a fire pig. I'm a fire pig. My element is fire. You probably know that already. And they were saying that their mother, and obviously this is somebody of Asian descent, because their mother always said to them that they were stubborn and... what's the other one? Can't remember what the other one was now. It'll probably come to me. I've got a feeling it was reactive in some way. And you know, it was interesting that they didn't talk about the good qualities about a boar, they just talked about the bad ones. And I'm going, wow. You know, some of you know my story. What changed my life for me was I went on a course once because I was curious. I'm driving behind what can only be a diesel ambulance. Why aren't I holding my collar, you ask? Great. And it's spewing out diesel fumes into my exhaust system, or into my intake system. Maybe I should open a window. It's too noisy. Anyway, so here was the thing. So what I wrote back was, yeah. You see, I see that in my life, the things that I thought were my bad things actually turned out to be my greatest ones. For example, when I was in my 20s, I honestly believed that I talked too much, which was true. You know, I was feeling pretty insecure because I didn't have any qualifications at the time. And I really felt that I was too honest for business. And I saw those as my greatest weaknesses. And I went on this course because I was curious. I can't remember what it was about the course that made me curious, but something did. And it's not a regular ambulance thing. It looks like it's a third-party one. Anyway, so I went on this course because I was curious, and what I learned was, you know, your weaknesses are just how you look at them. And the person running the course, you know, asked me for what I considered to be my weaknesses, and I told him, no problem. You know, I knew them well. And I remember he just looked at me and he said, if your most natural talent is talking, why are you not speaking for a living? And I went to that. What? He said, if your most natural talent is speaking, why are you not talking for a living? And I said, well, what would I talk about? And he said, why don't you talk about being a success without any qualifications? You could be as honest as you like, it's your story. And of course, the next thing I had to come back with was yes, but, because, you know, don't we love those words? Yes, but I'm not a success. And he just shrugged his shoulders, looked at me and tilted his head and said, become one. Become one and you'll spend the rest of your life talking about it in some way. Well, you know, he was not wrong in that. And I could see the logic in that. And if I hadn't got curious to go on this course, I would never have heard those words. And those words, in some way, completely changed the course of my life. Completely changed it. And, you know, I was watching a series on CNN recently about, you know, the person who changed my life. And there were strange people. Obviously, for some people it was a parent, but for others it was a teacher, and for others it was a boss, and for others it was somebody they met along the way. Well, guess what? the guy who said that to me completely changed my life. I'm talking about getting curious because some of you will remember that a few days ago, maybe a week ago, I can't remember, I dedicated a video, a vlog, to Lola. Yesterday, Lola wrote to me, and I've actually asked permission to read parts of her email to me because it was so moving. It was so incredibly moving to me that I really wanted to share it with all of you. In case you've forgotten, Lola felt she was being manipulated not only by her mother, but also by her siblings. And this is not unusual. A lot of you relate to this. And I recommended she go out and buy a book that I recommend to everybody who has this problem, because it's got to be the most simply written, magical book about the subject that I've ever read. And it's about how to stop people manipulating you. And once you've read it, you realize just how many people are actually doing it. Some in incredibly subtle ways. But it's happening. And we need to choose every day whether we want to take on this manipulation or not. The reason I'm talking about curiosity was because when Lola heard me talk to her about this book when I was doing the vlog, she said she stopped the vlog right there, threw on some clothes over her PJs, and went off and bought the book. Wow. She was that curious. And maybe that hopeful that somewhere in the pages of that book there would not only be the answer that I had seen, but maybe an answer for her. And she said she came back and read the book. And it's with great joy that I tell you that she just couldn't thank me enough. She realized she had never understood what was going on up until the time that she did that. And she had never understood how much of it was going on. And then, of course, what I love about that particular book is the fact that it gives you scripts. It gives you the words to help you learn how to answer people who are trying to manipulate you. And that was something that was missing in my life. I didn't know how to stop it. And so I was just so blessed in so many ways, because not only had this book helped me to be an eye-opener, but also it had helped Lola in that way as well. So way to go, Lola. And by the way, if you're listening to this, I am still looking for permission to read parts of your email, because I honestly do believe that people need to hear that in your own words. It was just so incredible to read. So getting curious about stuff is very important. Or you can stay in the place that you're at. I had a wonderful conversation yesterday with Yvonne, be it over texting, but we did have this conversation, and we were both talking about the fact that that we have to really just stand up for what we believe, and that is our right. But on the other hand, we also have to understand that not everybody will agree with us, and that's okay, because they're in their path of learning and you're in your path. I've always said, your speed is exactly the right speed for you. Does that make sense? Your speed is exactly the right speed for you. In other words, for those of you who are going, well, gosh, you know, I can't believe that I found these videos. I wish I'd found them 20 years ago. Well, quite honestly, I'm of the belief that you probably wouldn't have listened to them 20 years ago. You weren't ready. You see, I think your speed is the right speed. I think that your way of learning is the right way of learning for you. And the same way as all of you who have been, unfortunately, through grief will know that your grieving process is the right way for you. Your speed of grieving is the right speed for you. I got another letter, a note rather, yesterday from another viewer who has recently given up his YouTube. And I was trying to explain to his friends that yes, it's pretty natural for this person to be grieving that loss. I mean, if you've been a YouTuber, your life has revolved around social media for however long you've been doing it. And for some people, they've been doing it a long time. So to suddenly lose that part of your life requires some level of grieving. So yes, you will be upset. Yes, you will be sad. Yes, you will be angry. Yes, you will, unfortunately, blame people for it. That is human nature, like any loss. You have to go through the grieving. And eventually, time heals. And you will accept the fact that, hey, maybe you had a hand in this or whatever. But, you know, it's... You need to see it for what it is. It's a loss. Now, I can't help thinking that if I lost... if I lost YouTube or the broadcasts or any, you know, all the rest of the social media that goes around DearMamaSal, I'd have a lot more time. But as Benji reminds me regularly, have a look at what you would do with that time. What do you think you'd be doing with it? And I thought that was a very good question to ask. You know, would I be sitting around crocheting? Probably. Or, you know, whatever. I don't know. But I sure as heck would not be having my little curiosity bubble pop up every now and then, as I did with the halogen oven. I wonder if that thing works. You know, and go, hey, I can get one and play with it. Because I'm a YouTuber now. And I did. And look how much fun I've had with it. And that's because I'm curious. For those of you who might or might not have seen the green onion video a couple of days ago, I got curious. I saw something online and went, I wonder if that works. And I'm going, let me try. If I don't try, I'll never know. So I got curious enough to find out, really? That simple? No, seriously, it can't be that simple. And it was. Instead of buying green onions every week, I'd probably be buying green onions once a month. And still have more than enough green onions to keep me going through the month. In fact, I'll probably be giving them away. And now, of course, my curiosity goes to things like, I wonder if it would work with leeks. I like leeks in my food. I think they give a great taste. It's another one in the onion family. Okay, so get curious in your life. Have a love of life. Now, in order to be curious, there's one other thing I've realized. You have to be, have to, such a strong word. You might realize that in order for curiosity to work, you need to understand that you could fail miserably. And that's the interesting thing about inventors. Inventors don't have their ego attached to failure. They keep, and wasn't it Edison that said that's just one more way I found that it doesn't work, which makes the number of ways I have to try minimized. In other words, he realized that every time he failed, that he had knocked off one way that it didn't work, which meant that he was closer to the answer. Wow, what an incredible mentality. What an incredible mentality. It's not how many times he failed, it was how many more things did he need to do to get it to work. Yay, I love that. So my encouragement to you is get curious. Encourage the people around you to be curious. Check it out. Don't presume. This is DearMamaSal saying, part of loving yourself and loving other people is actually to get curious. Remember to ask them questions. We don't really know people well enough. Let's get more curious. Bye-bye for now. Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and I just wanted to quickly show you that I'm driving home in some daylight. The sun is just setting now, which means if I'm lucky I'll catch a really nice picture of the sunset in about 20 minutes, but I just thought I'd show you that the worst of winter has gone. Yay! I'm so happy.